Welcome to Might in Motion, where we help you navigate your personal and professional goals to manifest them into your deserved career and life path. Here at Might in Motion, we don't make excuses, we do the work and go above and beyond. The Might in Motion podcast brings you guests that will help stretch you out of your comfort zone and push you to improve your goals. Like, comment, and share. This is Might in Motion.
Tonight, I'm bringing to you Tish Horne. I cannot wait to hear her story. She is the CFO for Veritas. She's the co-owner of Absolute Flex Appeal Gym, and she wholeheartedly believes in the leadership by example philosophy. She has never been about do what I say mentality, but she does believe that her actions and her integrity can be the example for someone to aspire themselves to be better than what they currently are. She's done everything from having her own business. She was a preschool teacher. And then she was asked by a family member to move to Sacramento and open Absolute Flex Appeal Gym. She sold everything, packed up, and moved out there. Now she has her pro card and equipped bench press. She holds numerous American and California state records for squat, bench press, and deadlift. And Tim Bass invited her to be the CFO for Veritas, which is so exciting. And so tonight, I want to welcome Tish Horne to Might in Motion. Tish, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
I am so excited to hear your story because I think you have a very unique one on making this really big pivot in your life. And so what I'd like to learn a little bit first is, man, did you spend 20 years as a preschool teacher for real?
I spent 20 years trying to get the degree for the preschool teacher.
Oh, wow.
So I did the 20-year college plan through being a mom and divorces and issues and, struggles that happened through all of that, but persevering and never giving up and knowing that that was the dream that I wanted.
Yeah.
So, every couple of years being knocked back and then trying to get back into it. So 2018, I finished my degree, but was able to get my own childcare set up, had a thriving business, had a wait list started. So it was pretty exciting, right? I mean, something I'd worked for so long to see it come to fruition. So that was great. And then my son actually was in the fitness industry and was like, hey, let's, bring the family all together because we were spread out. Let's bring the family all together and, venture into this business together. To which I was like, cool. Like, let's, say yes to life. But I had no idea, I was not a fitness person. So that was a huge pivot itself in that place of going from sitting in the dirt playing with kids to, trying to lead 25 to 30-year-old, trainers who were trying to be entrepreneurs and get them started on their journey while we were trying to figure out ours. So
that takes all of those things that you just mentioned takes a ton of courage and tenacity that many people just don't have. So is that something even as a young girl that you had, or is it something that you honed through kind of that 20-year struggle of working towards a degree?
Sure. I mean, we all have struggles as young people growing up, right? I say I had a really good childhood. I didn't know any better. As a teenager, it was a pretty rough teenagehood. Finding out later in life, my mom was dealing with mental illness. And so it's kind of that elephant in the corner we never really understood. But that, of course, built grit and tenacity of self-survival and knowing how to manage, the highs and lows of those moments. But then just a self-survival piece, I'm also a Girl Scout. My daughter got through Girl Scouts. She got her gold award.
Wow.
So it's just that piece of like,
that's really tough. Congratulations, Mom, for doing that,
Yeah. Tough on both of us. It's tough on her, but it's tough on me and, leader of the troop. And I worked for Girl Scout Council, but it's just that piece of always like moving forward, whatever the struggles are, move forward, one step forward, always improving, increasing, never sliding backwards. So it's hard, right? But that level of difficulty can be done by anybody. Just one step forward, one more thing, whoever those people are, whatever your struggle is, just keep moving forward. One day, if you do a little bit every day, at the end of the year, 365 days, you've done 365% more than you would have if you had not even started.
Yeah, it's that momentum, right? Everybody has goals. Well, hopefully everybody has goals. I know me personally, I've had goals throughout, my entire 46 years, right? And when you take a goal that might seem really, really big and you start breaking it down into smaller chunks, for me, I break them down in like 3 months, and then I even take that even further. And then every day I have, what little thing am I going to do today to move myself forward? It creates that momentum. So even if you have a little bit of a setback, you're still further along than you were maybe 3 months ago.
Absolutely.
So, your son asked you and said, "Hey, move to Sacramento. Let's open up this gym together." Have you always been a person who just says yes to those, like, just what might seem like to others, like myself, like a random challenge?
I wouldn't say I saw myself that way, but I think that piece of just always moving forward kind of creates that environment of saying yes to life. I'm not as young as I used to be, so I may be on the backward slide of the calendar, but how many more summers do I have left? How many more opportunities do I have left? I could get smacked by a bus tomorrow. So that piece of just, okay, let's try it. What's the worst that can happen? We'll start over. Okay. You have to be okay with defeat, right? Because in defeat, it really is just lessons learned. Yeah. And you try again and do something else. So.
Oh, that's awesome. I love that. And that's something that sometimes is hard for, like, myself, for example. I love structure. I love having my agenda.
Sure.
And like, even this past weekend, it was like Thursday night, my husband said, "Hey, we got a 4-day weekend. Let's drive to Kentucky." And
nice.
Usually I would be like, "No," because I have all this stuff planned.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, "You know what? No, I'm just going to say yes." And it was
Just
very uncomfortable and it was very hard, but I was really glad that we did it. And I think that your philosophy of just say yes, like, what you have to lose is huge.
Right.
It's really,
I mean,
really
if you have to make an apology on the backside of, "Hey, I missed this thing, so I apologize. Well, let's reschedule," then you reschedule, but you had 4 days with your family and an adventure and a road trip and memories created. And that's so much worth more than any kind of like scheduled, like we have to do A, B, and C.
Exactly. So for me, it's just, I'm trying to break that, what's my habit, right? So my habit is structure, and like part of me saying yes was I want to show to my girls, like, it's okay to not have a plan.
Absolutely.
We're just going to see what happens. So,
yeah.
So you started this gym. So now you're working in, that fitness industry, which, is sometimes kind of tough to be in. And you're working with trainers and as helping them with clients and all of that. And then at some point you said that you wanted to be an athlete and you wanted to be a pro athlete. What inspired you to do that? And tell us what you're a pro in.
So the funny thing is, I never aspired to be an athlete, right? That was a huge learning moment along this journey of accepting the fact that I had created myself into an athlete. But really it was a piece of, so our gym model is that we create a space for personal trainers to rent space from us to work with their clients. So really all of our trainers are all independent contractors, personal trainers in their own rights, renting space from us like a barber chair. And so, helping them get started in their business. And so the proverbial gym industry, you've got trainers who are 25 to 30-year-olds working with people who are 20 to 30-year-olds, whatever, trying to make a quick fix for the summer. And I was like, look, the leadership by example piece, like, I'm a large body, and a large body doesn't move the same in the gym as smaller bodies. And the large body is the greater long-term client than the 6-week booty challenge who just wants to get ready for summer. Well, you could make a lot more money if you had a few of those clients in your repertoire. And so it was that piece of like, let me show them, what does a large body look like? Because I'm not against working out, just wasn't. I never had a gym that was comfortable to do it in, right? Most larger people will tell you, I go to any gym and you're going to get looked at and felt bad, and you already feel bad about yourself in the first place. So you never feel comfortable. So now that I had my own gym, I'm like, well, you can't kick me out. And, you know, if you make me feel too bad, I'll kick you out. So why not, you know, just do it. So I ended up doing, I actually took one of our trainers' little booty classes, and I was like, okay, it's great, cool, but that's not me. I'm not that person, right? I'm a very competitive, very, I can do more than this kind of thing. And I would have put the weights on the same as the boys are doing. So I had that trainer find me a powerlifting competition. And so I was like, all right, well, I know nothing about powerlifting. So Tim Bass was a trainer with us at the time. And so I was like, I really liked his knowledge of body mechanics and movement, and like a higher level of trainer than just the, you know, get fit for, you know, 6 weeks kind of thing. And so he really like mentored me through to that first competition. And so we did a deadlift competition, and I went from couch potato to a 231-pound deadlift after being in a car accident like 3 weeks before that.
Wow.
And we were just like, we're just going to go. We're just going to do it. And literally hadn't left the parking lot from that event, and was like, okay, I'm totally hooked. I'm going to do full powerlifting competition. And he trained me for almost a year through a couple of those newbie competitions. And then just as time has progressed, I'm like, all right, well, you know, you get addicted, right? I just want a little bit more on the bar. I just want that record, you know, I mean, because powerlifting, you run by divisions, and then you run by age categories. And so there aren't a whole lot of older women, big bodied people in my division. So I can kind of rack it up, right? So, so again, that became addicting. You know, I've got all these accolades I can say, and then it just became a journey piece. You know, I've had a few trainers that I've worked with who have different modalities. Always have gone back with him. He's always been there to support me through nutrition, or, you know, just little tweaks and things here. He's very good at getting me out of the nervousness, the scared piece. Most people are scared of squats. I'm scared of squats. I have mobility issues in squats. And so he would just distract me while I would get ready for a competition. But in that, I just continue to progress. So like I said, I've been to nationals. I'm a 4-time national podium winner. I just in December went to Australia and competed in Australia at their open. So that was pretty exciting. That was kind of my pinnacle of my fitness journey story. Another story, but that was a whole piece of like, someday when I grow up, I want to be an international athlete. And work with this particular coach. And so all of that fell into place. And I was like, well, I mean, I have to go. I have to say yes. You know, I have to figure out a way to get to Australia. So I did that. And then this will be my second year. I leave for the Arnold's in next week. So it'll be my second time as an invitee to Arnold's. And then this year I'm actually defending my pro card. So that's kind of cool. I'll be on the main stage. So again, it's just, you know, okay, you know, I had lots of opportunities of things I could have done, try this. And I'm like, well, I'll just say yes to the big thing and we'll see what happens. So that's kind of the exciting piece from the fitness journey.
I think that's what's really, it's really cool, because when you're on a fitness journey of any kind, you're competing against yourself in most of it, right? So, and I went through a journey. I lost 50 pounds. It took me about 2.5 years to do it, right?
Awesome.
And it's one of those where like I had where I wanted to be, right? But I knew it wasn't going to take me 3 months to get there,
right?
Because it didn't take me 3 months to gain the 50 pounds.
Absolutely.
It took me 35 years, right? Like, so those were,
right.
You know, being willing to break that down and putting yourself in a situation where you can compete against yourself is awesome.
Yeah.
You know, people probably look at you, Tish, and they're inspired by that. What do you think is a way for somebody who might want to just start, you know, because they like that competition, they like that appeal of like, wow, hey, wait, I could do that. And it doesn't mean I have to be a bikini model doing it, right? It doesn't mean I have to be the one showing off my glutes, right? You know, in a teeny tiny bikini, but what wants to compete in a different way? What are some ways that you would suggest that people might try to get started, or at least try it out? Because I think that's the main thing. Just try.
Sure. Well, so what I tell, so I have mostly women clients, but I have some male clients. But the funny piece is most of my clients are all over 40. So we call those masters in powerlifting. But it's with all of them, I've met them wherever they're at, and I think that's kind of what I help empower them with and bring to the table for them. Is everybody's in their own place. I have a doctor who's a fairly new mom, right? So she has a 3-year-old at home, and then she's like, I'm not going to compete. I don't have time to stick to a program, but I need to do something, right? And so it's a little bit of things that help her feel good and, put some weight on the bar and be comfortable in the gym. And I have a 70-plus-year-old client who's her husband is working out and powerlifting with me, and she just wants to be there with her husband.
Yeah.
So, it's like, cool. I program her and give her some fun stuff to do, and she loves it. Health wise, it's improved for her. Like doesn't need osteoporosis medication anymore, whatever. So, and then I have athletes that are just as driven as me and like, okay, what record can we get this time? What little trick do we need to do? So I think it's just a piece of allowing yourself to start wherever that is, meeting yourself wherever that is, finding a trainer who will meet you wherever that is. Because a lot of trainers are like, okay, this is the program and I'm going to tell you what to do. But that trainer is a 25 to 30-year-old who's used to training 25 to 30-year-olds. And if that's not the model that you fit into, you probably aren't finding the right trainer for you.
Right.
Right. So to your piece, losing weight, and taking a little bit of time to do that. If you'd have had a trainer that'd been like, well, you're going to need to cut calories, and we're going to drop weight for you in the next 3 months, you'd have been miserable and you wouldn't have stuck with it.
Correct.
Right. So it's about finding, and I think I ended up on, having to find that within myself and firing some trainers that I were working with, or providers that I was working with. And it's that piece of like, just because you've hired them doesn't mean you have to stay with them if it's not a good fit anymore. And that's an empowering piece, especially for a large body who doesn't feel like they belong in the gym, to be able to then fire a provider, because you're like, well, then I'm taking ownership of the fact that I think I'm a little more than what you think I am. So I have to overcome that and then be strong enough to be like, okay, well, we're not working well together as a business relationship. But it really is that piece of just allowing yourself to, and acknowledging that I am a real person and I have real goals and I have real challenges and real everything in life, just like everybody else does. And I'm just as valuable in this world, regardless of the size of my body or my ability to pick up big weight in the gym. I can pick up baby weights. My father's 78 and we've got him competing. And when we first started, he couldn't pick up a bar. So that's 45 pounds. He couldn't pick it up and put it behind his back. We've worked him through that mobility. He's got that. He just competed this last weekend and he had 154 pounds on his back for a squat. So
awesome.
I mean, it's meeting people where they are.
That's so, getting over that fear, the fear of the bar. It's 45 pounds, right? The fear of the bar. And it's like, you look at it and you're, I mean, I've had that mindset of like, I can't believe I can't just pick it up.
Yeah.
Right. I can pick up my kids. I can, throw them around ish,
right.
And, but when it's like a mental thing. And then when you finally break through, to your point, it does become a bit addicting of, what am I going to take off? And then you have to be aware of it. So like, I've now started to really notice, okay, I didn't get enough sleep last night. So what I was able to do last week on leg day, I can't do this week on leg day. And having that grace with ourselves is huge, I think too. And,
because that's the long-term goal, right? That keeps you in it. That's something that Tim and I in Heroes Veritas, we talk about as the infinite game versus the finite game.
Right.
And it's that piece of like, you're in this for the long term. You're in your body for the long term until the day you are no longer in that body. Right. So breaking yourself today for the sake of like, well, I'm supposed to do this because that's what the program says. Well, okay. You have kids, you have family, you have a husband, you have business, you have travel, you have weather, you have, female cycles, you have all of those things. And maybe the last thing you need to be doing on that day is picking up a lot of weight.
Right.
So
but being aware
self-preservation of the long term.
Yeah. But having that mental awareness, that mindfulness is really key. Yeah. So you mentioned Heroes Veritas. Can you tell our audience a little bit more about what that is and, who is it really catered for?
Nice. So the beauty of Heroes Veritas is it's catered for everybody. it is a place for everybody to be at, regardless of who and what you are. You know, it started out being kind of a men's space, and men being men, and masculinity and all of that, and it's kind of morphed and grown into a place of like, there really is room for everybody to be in this, and to really help guide men who want to be men and women who want to be in their femininity. And a lot of challenge that has happened in this world, and I'm part of that generational challenge change, is that, you know, women want to do it all and we want to be a part of it and we can do just as much. Absolutely. But in that, we've lost our femininity.
Yes.
We've lost our empowerment to just be beautiful women who bring life forward into this world in many ways, not just a child, you know, but we bring that energy. But we're so hell-bent on being masculine, you know, that now we don't have that space to have, to be ourselves, to be free to be women, to be free to be soft. And we also don't have men in our in society that are as comfortable in their masculinity to let their women be dependent on them while still being independent. Like, you know, the man has to be really all about himself and understanding himself in order for his to give space for his woman to be whatever and whoever she wants to be, and also to be feminine and soft to him, with him, right? So and help him bring out his softness, you know, as the intimacy, that's the intimacy in their relationship. So Here's Veritas really provides that opportunity. So currently we have a membership portal where you can come in and we actually, so we'll drop this secret. I don't know when this is dropping, but March 1st, we will be opening that portal to everybody free of charge, to get in and kind of build that community. It's kind of a business decision we just recently made, because we just want everybody in it. We just want people to get in it and feel comfortable, and to key a phrase. It's kind of like a Facebook, right? Where you get a chance to come in and, you know, there's daily posts of affirmations and guidance within our 5 pillars, which is faith, family, fitness, finance, and we call it fight, but really fight is any kind of survival tactics or, you know, care, self-care, that kind of thing. And it's a chance to meet other like-minded people who are kind of tired of today's society of not being assertive in themselves, you know, not wanting to, or being afraid to reach out and be more, be better. You know, they're just like, okay, well, society said I'm supposed to do this thing or wear this thing or whatever, and I guess I'm going to, because I have no other mindset, you know. And so we want to be that, again, leadership by example piece, which is part of what brought me into Heroes. But we want to be that piece of like, just, it's okay to be yourself. It's okay to have strong convictions. It's okay to have strong core values, and to live those traditional core values that maybe our grandparents, or depending on your age, you know, that's what we grew up with. That's what I grew up with. You know, you were seen, not heard. You were a better person in society and respectful of your elders because you were taught that by hardcore means, you know. But we kind of lost some of that, and some of that storytelling lineage that happens in that. We've kind of lost that with social media, you know. So it's a bit ironic that we have an app to be able to share, but that is just our current means to get us to the place where we actually we'll be building a ranch that has land where we can do hands-on activities. We can have, you know, butter churning, basket weaving, gun shooting, target practice, horse riding, zip lining, you know, whatever kind of hands-on kinesthetic activities. That's the ultimate goal, is to get us to that place where we can then build those skills and community in that.
Yeah, I mean, community is key. I think people, we have social media and we think that connects us, but it's not connecting us as much as our tribes that we used to have.
Right.
You used to have that community of, you have your neighborhood tribe and your city and, you know, et cetera. And that's been lost along the way.
100%.
You know, which is a bummer. And I know, like, I have, you know, a 6-year-old and a 9-year-old, and, you know, we work purposely to try to create a tribe for them. Right. You know, similar to Girl Scouts, they do American Heritage Girls, so they can learn those kind of skills, right? When you talk about, you know, faith and all of that, and but it's all tied to, you know, getting them out there and learning different skills, right? So,
because those are the skills that will get you, as much as it doesn't seem like it, it will get you to that business side.
yes.
You know, my daughter sort of fought tooth and nail through the whole Gold Award process and was like, you know, I call her my crunchy hippie, you know, she's kind of anti everything, you know? And so to be constructed into like a set way of doing something like Girl Scouts, you know, was a bit of a struggle for her and her finding herself. But now as an adult, she's gone back and been like, you know what, like the cookie sales, the camping, the adventures that we did, the travels that we went to across the world. You know, she traveled 6 months across the United States by herself in her little meet car.
Yeah.
Because of skills she learned that she didn't know she learned. Right.
Right.
And those are skills that are, you know, similar to things you would find at Heroes Veritas, but they're also not taught in this world anymore. You don't get those kind of skills in classrooms anymore. And that's where we end up with adults in today's world, in today's generations, that are like, well, I don't know what happens when the power goes out.
Right.
How do I cook? I don't have a microwave, you know? So it's funny, right? But it's not, you know? And so that's kind of those traditional values we want to get people back to, like, just some of those basic skills. Okay, well, power doesn't, do you have something in your garage? Do you have a tent in your garage? If something, your roof blew off because of a thing, you know, whatever, an event, or just the storytelling pieces, you know, our families are so diverse now that, you know, the knowing where we came from is getting muddled more and more. Right. But at least family stories and heritage stories aren't getting passed through because we're not sitting together.
Right.
You know, we're not sitting and, you know, dad's on the back porch and mom's in the kitchens and the kids running around catching little bits and pieces of stories. You know, it just doesn't happen as much as it used to.
Right. And it's important because
It's
that's
totally important.
that ties into identity.
100%.
Yeah. So love that the Heroes Veritas is going to be opening up to the public at the beginning of March. Will it be open for a period of time, or is it kind of unknown?
I mean, we have some goals set within that, right? Just business side on the back. But really it's about right now just building that community. That is our purpose. Right? It's not about making $1 off of the portal. It's about building the community, because we want that community to then be ready, up and mobile. When we actually have our location, right? So we do small gatherings at this point. We call them soirees. But like there was still, we just did a competition at my gym, a powerlifting event, and there were Hero Veritas people that were able to come, right? You know, non-members that were able to come and check it out. So they kind of got to double dip an event. But we try to have little soirees where we gather people together to kind of build that sense of community. We did like a cheese board and, you know, what do you call cornhole gathering, you know, at last month. We try to do something every month, axe throwing, whatever. So again, it's that piece of like building community within the portal, building community in local locations of just a fun thing to do for an hour or two as adults, that will all then lead itself into when we have our property to be like, okay, now come here and let's do some big stuff, you know, an adult playground. We reference it to being kind of like a Disneyland concept of, you're going to come as adults and do all the things that are super cool, you know? You want to zip line? Cool. We have adult space for you to zip line, where it's okay to be a kid, you know, and not just have to, you know, be controlled and like, oh, well, I really, no, go do it. You know, you want to ride a horse? Ride a horse. You want to muck out a stall? Cool. We'll give you a shovel. You know, you want to do some pottery? And we just learned you can do low temp pottery in a microwave. We're like, yes, we don't need a kiln. We'll just burn some stuff up in a microwave.
I love it. I love it. So Tish, I have one last question for you.
Yes, ma'am.
If you thought back and were able to actually give advice to Tish from 10 years ago, to go back in time, what advice would you give her?
It's actually a living piece, which was, don't waste the time. You know, I gave up 10 years to kind of a long-term depression after a divorce and lost myself. Right. And it looking back now, I'm like, that was 10 years worth of time that, you know, I lost out on so much potential. of
Yeah.
myself and my community and what I could bring to the world, and sharing my light. So it just be that just do it. Just say yes to life. Just try it. The worst that happens is it doesn't work and you're like, okay, well, it was an adventure in itself. Do something else,
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
I love it.
There's no book. Write your own book.
I love that. That's amazing. So, Tish, best way to reach you, is it on Instagram at mama_t_613, or
Yes.
is there another great way to reach you?
Because I'm kind of double dipping into multiple businesses and whatnot, that's my best social media, to reach out to me directly. I do have, of course, Here's Veritas has its own website. The gym, Absolute Flex Appeal, has its own website. But, I live mostly inside Instagram I have a Facebook, but that's all my high school friends. And so trying to be an adult now and not just I want to be one of the cool kids in the Instagram world. I do not have a TikTok, but that's because I can't dance. So,
Hey, I don't have a TikTok either.
There you go.
I
Right.
don't know.
Yeah.
Instagram's kind of my Instagram and LinkedIn. So I don't know what that tells you about me, but well, this has been a true pleasure, Tish.
Thank
Please
you.
go follow her, mama_t_613 on Instagram. And it's just great to see her journey and follow her as she goes back to the Arnold and defends her pro. I'm sure you're going to have some content on there as well.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Tish, for joining us. I really appreciate it. And for those of you who are listening to the podcast or on YouTube or joining us live, thank you so much. Please like, comment, and share, and we'll see you next time.
Perfect. Thanks so much.
Thank you for tuning into Might in Motion. If you learned something about motivation, momentum, mindfulness, or might, please like, comment, and share. Thank you.